Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome once again to another Tuesday evening of We the People, brought to you by the Diamond Factory. Um, I guess exciting news, if you want to call it that. We have eight Democrats that have crossed over, and at least on paper, it seems that the shutdown may be over. It still has to go back to the House, and of course, with any other thing that comes out of Washington, it'll take a little while for it to take effect. So we have eight Democrats that crossed over this week, and they say they called it in good faith. But tell me something. When have hospitals closed and rent doubles and families lose their coverage and seniors skip medicine, what good is about that faith? They didn't cross the line. They actually crossed the people who put them there. As a matter of fact, I believe three of them aren't even up for re-election. But good faith doesn't pay health care. Good faith doesn't fill a refrigerator. And unity without justice, that's just surrender dressed in Sunday clothes. Tonight, we're going to draw our own line between courage and complicity, between patriots and cowards, because democracy doesn't collapse in silence. It crumbles in handshakes. So our guest tonight, I see Derek is down here already, and we missed you last week, Brother Garland. Where are you there? Missed you. Okay. There you go. Yeah, all right. How you doing tonight, Brother Derek?
I'm good. Just working with this technology, trying to get it together.
Coming to us from the city that has its pulse on Black America. How are things in Atlanta, speaking of that?
Well, they're good. Actually, though, tonight I'm coming to you from Phoenix. I'm not here for a conference this week. But yeah, we left Atlanta yesterday. The temperature dropped 40 degrees. So very rarely do we get cold spells like this in the ATL. But then got off the plane, it was 88 degrees in Phoenix. So I'm trying to to adjust here.
And that's cold for Phoenix. So it's not quite that time of year, but Phoenix loves them triple digits. They don't like them just double digits down there in Phoenix. But are you down there for a conference or something?
Yes. Yeah. I am down here for a church conference, actually. Yeah.
We have actually been very busy in your absence. We are Masada has come over as a full-time person now, working for we're called the Coalition for Community Elevation, so Masada is still affiliated with he's not affiliated with Head Start, so we are trying to do our thing kind of independently. We're going to be filing for our 501c3 and electing officers and trying to get here in the mainstream. All we need now is some views. We have our subscriber. We just need some regular views now. So as much as you can get us out there in the air, we appreciate it.
I heard that.
But getting back to our subject tonight, the 8 that crossed over. Um, I, I'm not really sure where I see John Fetterman. Um, when he first, uh, before he got sick, he seemed to have a lot more fire in his belly. He seemed to be a little bit more aligned. Um, and he didn't seem as well in my view spineless. Um, this is not the first time that he's crossed over with the Republicans. Um, I'm not sure whether I would rather see him as an independent, even though the only independent that we have was also part of that crossover. Uh, but as I said, at least I believe 3 of those people are not even running for reelection. But what I mean, you may have known some of them or come in contact with some of them during your time in D.C. But what was your view of those that crossed over?
I think that I would agree with you. They were weak. I think that the reason that people were starting to get excited about the Democratic um, coalition is because they had decided to stand and fight and not just, say, woe is me, to make a stand, a real strong stand. And it was something that was going to be painful. Certainly, it was painful for the government workers, but we knew that the president wasn't going to stop with what he had done. He's going to keep going and keep going and keep going. So somewhere, somebody had to make a stand. And that was why I was excited to see what Gavin Newsom, your governor, did, because he showed somebody had some kahunas, right? And so those people, those 8 that compromised themselves, so I think they just, I feel like they sold out because you cannot trust this present GOP, because the people who do, even the ones that disagree with the president, are refusing to say so and refusing to stand out and step up. I mean, the vast majority and go along with whatever the plan is. So I, I, it's very disappointing because you cannot trust this current administration to really have a legitimate discussion on funding the subsidies of the Affordable Care Act, which would allow people who were the working poor, the people who simply, again, stacked kind of things and did not have health insurance. Um, they
I think
could
are
not
you
afford.
on? I think let me mute Masada there. Uh, Go ahead. Okay, I think you didn't freeze up on us, did you?
Afford health and actually
I'm not sure. Brother Derek's freezing up, froze up on us here. uh, but Brother Masada, how are you doing this evening? Always teasing us with that food there, I see. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Yep.
All
We
right,
can hear
I
you
was
now.
on mute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Let's say hopefully this connection gets better, and hello to you as well. How you doing today?
Oh, hey. As you know, my favorite saying, every day above ground is a great day.
It
Uh,
is. I just got through playing a game with the boys and was deciding to eat, and then I was like, oh man, it's about time. And then tried to log on. So I'm here. Welcome to everybody and everything. But yeah, I try to get my eat on, man. It's only black eyed peas and yams. And shout out to Bankhead, Mississippi. I love shouting out. That's a black restaurant out here in San Diego. It's really good. Called Bankhead, Mississippi. So I mess with it because of the name, and the folks in there are really cool. Really good food though. Kind of like to the World Beat Center we went to with that was really good food. That vegan food. I gotta give a shout out to them.
we might have to have a meeting at the other place next. Brother Lassalle, you're a little dark there. I see your end, but we can't see you. Let me see. Maybe if
Or
we
hear you.
let me see if we can take him out and put him. Okay, let's see. We're having trouble. Seems like we're having trouble with some outside. Let's see if we can get Brother Derek back in there. There's Brother
All right,
Derek.
there's
Can you hear us now, Brother Derek? Oh,
No, he popped out too.
Brother Lassalle, go out and come back.
Give me time to try to scarf down real quick.
Yeah, we were just talking about the 8 that crossed over. I know you don't keep up with a lot of politics, but in keeping with our theme, what did you think about the surrender, or as they say, bargaining in good faith with the Republicans?
They're just playing moral hopscotch. They're jumping between donors and voters, and that's not leadership. That's theater. Basically, I think it's like I tell my kids, it would be like them going to mommy and then coming to me, and I'm blaming mommy and mommy blaming me. It's the same people. We just playing with their emotions. You know what I mean? And so that's what I really think about it. They're messing with the people's morals, all for all for show, all for theater, and that's not right. That really isn't leadership. The highest bidder, highest voter sells them out, and then they come back to us making promises that aren't fulfilled.
Brother Lassalle, how are you this evening?
Doing all right now. I had a little bit of a struggle to get here, but I'm here now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw your video on Instagram, so I followed you back. You can follow me. I'm on Instagram too.
I'm gonna check that out.
So, what do you think about these 8 people that kind of crossed over? And they said they did it because they were bargaining in good faith. But you have a president that, well, basically, he kept his word. He cut off, he didn't pay the people that were essential for them to come to work. The military went unpaid. Uh, a lot of us didn't get our SNAP benefits until Friday, when they were forced to issue them. So, what do you think about these 8 people? And as I said, I believe at least 3 of them aren't even coming back uh, for their seat. Their seats are up for grabs.
Mm. Yeah, I don't have complete information about it, but what I do know about some of it is that um, the rationale was to obviously to stop the shutdown, to get federal workers paid again, and some other things like that, which was taken as, and one person supposedly cited a tourism industry fall in that particular person's state or city. Um, but I was curious as to what was the heart of the matter, as far as what was the major struggle they had argued, which turned out to be about healthcare, right? Healthcare uh, being at risk of doubling of the premium or something of the sort, where healthcare for the poorest people are going to be way more expensive. And that, of course, it was the disagreement about strategy more than anything, right, within the Democratic Party, uh, among anything. And, that's what I have so far. I don't have really basic information I have. I don't know enough about the situation as far as the political history of those individuals, but I do know what some of the back and forth is about.
Well, that's one of the things that we're talking about when they talk about bargaining in good faith, because they're talking about putting the healthcare agenda on hold until December. So basically, what they're saying is that we're not really worried about the healthcare uh, right now. As long as we do some things that are kind of superficial. When I say superficial, I'm not. It is important that these people get paid, but it doesn't do anything for those uh, that could lose their health care. Now, fortunately, I'm a veteran, so I don't, that's not losing my health care. It's not one of the things that I'm worried about. But it, they have also, and uh, I don't know whether Masada goes to the VA or not, but right now there's a freeze on nurses and a freeze on uh, what we should say as essential care uh, 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 and maintenance. Uh, there's a freeze on the different jobs, such as the people that used to be in the cafeteria, some of the little VA stores, and things like that. But uh, I'm hoping we can keep Brother Derek in here long enough, because you actually went through the first shutdown with the Trump administration, didn't you?
I did. And I was like in the sense, not nearly as stressful, but kind of like the air traffic controllers. We didn't get paid and they expected us to work because at that time I was considered essential personnel. So, yeah, I did do that for sure. And now, of course, he's had the two longest shutdowns in U.S. history, maybe the three longest, actually.
Well, now, how long does it take to actually open the government back up for these people to get paid? I mean, is it just a stroke of his pen, the mighty one, or what?
Yeah, I think that Congress is going to have to meet now, although, yeah, Congress is going to have to meet. I would expect that they will have it resolved before the end of the week. Of course, they had to call everybody back because, of course, he was not wanting Mike, what's his name?
Johnson.
Johnson wasn't wanting to meet because he didn't want to open the can of worms on the Epstein files that the new Arizona uh, Congresswoman was the the vote, the decisive vote, the 218th vote. And so he hadn't chosen to seat her, but now he doesn't have a choice. And the reason he hasn't chosen to seat her is he insists that once they get those votes, that the next thing that'll happen after the midterms is that Trump will be impeached, and which very well could happen.
I've been hoping for that for quite some time, but it didn't do any good the first time.
That's true. So, that's true.
That's
true.
But this is also a question that has been kind of puzzling me. In most states, felons can't vote. So how was he able to? I mean, there's nothing. I mean, we saw his family go, behind the curtains and vote. I mean, when I was a felon, I could. It took me 7 years to be able to vote again. I'm kind of curious how a man with 34 felonies still has that right. I'm just curious, these are questions that run around in my head. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't know, Masada. Do you have any ideas about that?
And listen, I start being inquisitive about a lot of stuff he's doing. When they allow everything they do, when you know what, I'm gonna tell you the exact moment. One of the exact moments when I stopped. It's been a lot. I mean, it's a lot. But one of the exact moments he said you can just grab them by the, and all the women still voted for him. I was like, you know what? Oh, y'all gonna let this dude run? I'm done. Yeah. And then since then, it's just been trickling. I mean, we're talking in the felonies. I mean, we're talking January 6th. that alone, not, and then going back with DEI, like you said, the first impeachment. I'm one of those people. I learn really quickly. I see it. I see what y'all let happen. I see what y'all are letting happen. It's okay. And I haven't been to the VA. I do go, but I haven't been to see the nurses. But I do believe they were on strike about 3 weeks ago to a month ago. There was a whole strike throughout the nation, I believe, or at least I know in California there was with the nurses. So
yeah. I mean, this is a whole new ball game with this guy as president. The Republicans who always professed and stood by and were proudly talking about how critical the rule of law is. Well, the rule of law is out the window.
Also, Brother Derek, though, with the Democrats, though, that's the 8. I mean, we talk about that too. That it's supposed to be about this bill and everything. I'm so confused because that's why the shutdown happened in the first place, so that they wouldn't spike up healthcare, because they were saying they stuck by their guns back then and they swore that it was about the people and about saving the people and about not having you pay too much. And then just a couple of months, I mean, I get it's a shutdown, but going through breaking up, and I think Brother James wrote it eloquently, and I told him the only thing I would change is he said they turned around or something like that, and I said they bent over. They didn't bow down, they bent over, because it's the same thing that we were supposed to be on the shutdown for. So,
and you got to keep in mind that was 8 of them, and so
not all. I understand not all. I understand it's not all. Not everything is a majority.
I mean, it's a very small percentage of them, but you got to help. They couldn't hold a coalition together.
You only needed 6 to begin with, but as I said, at least
only needed one Judas.
As I said, at least 3 of these people aren't running for the next election. Which makes it even, to me, when you want to say sell out, and this is your last term, you have no desire to sit around and watch the consequences of your action, because hell, I'm leaving. Bye. It's not my concern. It's the concern of the next guy that comes in.
Yeah, all they had to lose was their dignity, and they, as Masada said, they bent over, they grabbed their ankles, and that's what they did. Yeah. And it's a shame that principle is not part of the the process any longer.
Now you still have some over there on. I always get hard on politicians, but you still have some over there fighting. I just I just know that it's not enough and it's not hard because we're letting what is happening happen, and it's not just happening because of the Republicans either. So I do give some of the Democrats props and kudos because they didn't turn, they didn't do what the eight did. So I appreciate them, you know. But it's like, is it really for us now as a people, or who is it for now? Is it for I don't know if you missed it, brother Derek. Your computer was glitching in and out, but I explained it to my kids, trying to explain to them the government. I explained to them, mommy is the Republican and I'm the Democrat. Or I'm the Democrat, I'm the Republican, and mommy's the Democrat. So when they're saying why can't they get a new video game or why can't they do this, and we're talking about it's over the tax dollars, it's over our dollars, and what can we afford or what we can't buy. We're doing the same thing that our government's doing to our kids. It's under our control. We can say yes and no and let them have it. We may be doing it for a good cause, but on the other flip side, is our government or are they doing it for a good cause, or are they doing it just to mess with us? Sometimes like we would be doing with our kids. And if you're an adult and you're listening and you can't understand that, then you can't understand life, because everybody gonna understand. If you can't make it make sense for a kid, you can't make it make sense for an adult. And we all know what the mommy and daddy game and good cop, bad cop is with what's going on with everything. I'm today is always, every time we talk, I love talking to my brothers, y'all. It's just every day I try to. James said he asks questions. I have questions in my head, but my questions, I stop being inquisitive because it makes me feel brain dead. Why is everything happening? And then it's been happening and it's continued to happen, and it just seems like a joke. It seems like it's a bad theater, like it really does. I know we're all characters and we got a role to play, but it seems like it's just bad theater at this time in life.
Well,
I'll agree.
Brother Saul, as someone that deals with different personalities, how does this, kind of fit when, we might be talking about, different systems, Republican, Democrat, liberal, but we could also put these, we could also make these personality groups. And how would you fit that into, the normal everyday realm of living? Like Brother Masada, is talking about how, the mother father thing, like good cop, bad cop. I think I see that with a lot of our agencies that good cop, bad cop. Well, we can't do anything for you. Go down the street, or in order for you to get this done, like Masada says, bend over and touch your knee. Grab your ankles. I mean, how do you see that?
Yeah, and just a little correction there. So, I hear exactly what you mean by the question. Just a quick little correction though, with it. It's more so personality, personal development. Personality is a little bit different, as far as characterizing people. But people who want assistance with improvement, development of the person, uh,
Now, the reason
characteristics.
why I was bringing it up was, remember the test that you were talking about with me and Masada when we first started.
Yeah. Oh
That,
yeah.
that
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna get to that. So where I would approach it from, and the way I see it is, like, I can't judge a lot of those people. I don't know their personal lives, and I don't know their political history either. But what I would focus on is, as citizens, as people who are at the end of it, my concern is their like the mental health, like where they are and how they're coping with the situation. Um, I would be looking more at people who, where is the people, the air traffic controller folks, for example, how the hell are they maintaining? What makes them go to work when they're not being paid? That's where my mindset is. The more I think about the motivations on both sides and aisle, but especially, of course, there's a hotter, redder source of issues that is certainly a source of angst and irritation and problems. Um, what I do is I make, and I talk to people about this. I actually talked to a pilot 2 days ago, and also folks who were going to the airport. First of all, I saw the airport and how in San Diego, and how there's a bunch of chaos. It's better than like it's not completely like crazy, but you can tell like there's a whole lot, there's less order, you know. But again, what keeps these people coming back to work when they're not being paid? And I found out, like, wait a minute, like I assumed that the company, the airport, somebody would do something for these employees during this shutdown. And everyone I spoke to told me, no, they're just going to work. They're not getting a free meal at the airports. No, they're going to work based on need. And that's what I think about those people, how they're being used as pawns, and definitely healthcare is very important, obviously, and the fight regarding healthcare. But I think about the people who are on the brink of losing the housing and such, people like that. So wherever that falls regarding the debate about, we'll say, politicians, let it fall where it fall at. But on both sides, I would say, particularly, obviously, I know Trump is really, really playing the hardball game as far as these demands that the Democratic Party has, which is lower the first of all, extend the subsidies for healthcare, extend them. You're supposed to do it. I know you can't wait for the opportunity to destroy Obamacare, but extend it for out of good conscience, we'll say. But and yes, I'm being a bit sarcastic about some of the stuff I said, but my interest in my heart is with the personality. You had me say personality, but personal development, inner development, improvement of people during crisis, and even after crisis is over. And it looks like people have done pretty good. Some folks they went to work out of patriotism. How about that? They went to work. They're keeping the country going, and they're not even fucking getting paid. And kudos to them. That's where I am on that.
Yeah. Jake, when he talks about those essential workers. I remember when they had the first air traffic controller strike, and we took a different approach. Didn't we just fire them all?
Yeah, Reagan fired all of them. He fired all of them. That's true. That's true. Absolutely true. And LaSalle, the other part about that, even if you separate out the health care, you think about the SNAP benefits. I heard this elderly Black woman, and her SNAP benefits were only $27 a month. And she broke down exactly what she paid with it, and then that's gone. Another older elderly white woman and both of them were over 70, and she got $68 a month. So, all of it is inhumane and cruel, and that's why the only reason I believe that the shutdown is getting solved is because their traffic controllers and their instability, and not blaming them at all, but the fact that all these delays and cancellations are happening, it's impacting big business. And when those Fortune 500 companies started calling Trump and say, hey, you got to solve this. And that's the people he cares about. He doesn't care about any of the rest of us. And certainly the least, the last, and the lost.
But see, here's the thing that maybe people didn't notice or don't want to notice. Before the shutdown, we had airline companies that were shutting down routes, that were going out, filing for bankruptcy. I mean, you can't blame all of this on the shutdown because it seemed to me like the airlines and the tourist business was already in trouble before the shutdown.
And I think a lot of that, James, goes back to all this craziness with tariffs. So Europeans aren't coming here anymore. They're the traffic of them coming to vacation in the U.S. Canada, which sends tons of people, they're even pouring out our liquor that they love.
No more Jack Daniels in Canada.
Yeah. So we hurt ourselves there. When I say we, the administration did that, trying to play hardball on the tariffs, which by all means probably aren't even legal. And that's what several federal judges have said. But of course, he has the Supreme Court in his back pocket. So we have a Supreme Court that doesn't even think that will allow him to put a hold on paying SNAP benefits to the poorest of the poor. And that's who we have, unfortunately, as the Supreme Court. It's his Supreme Court. And they go along with him about most everything.
I'm sitting here trying not to jump in because
No, I was coming to you now, so you might as well, take your shoes off. Come on.
Well, it's because it's once again, it makes me feel really crazy because everything we're speaking on, what Brother LaSalle spoke on, what we're all speaking on is monetary. Everything is monetary, and everything is run. If it's monetary, guess who profits? The stock market, big corporations, big dollars. Simple. They always try to find a black person or somebody when they bring the cameras to them. Watching the news right now, found the old black lady, and I loved it. She told the truth. They were like, your flight's been delayed for a couple of hours. What do you think about just getting the backup thing or what is protection? She said, I can't afford a protection. What the hell are you talking about? So what they're doing, that goes again to monetary things. When you say that he controls the Supreme Court, he controls everything. The corporations, James, some of these flights were losing windows, doors. I don't know why these things were crashing. I'm not blaming air traffic control. I'm blaming big corporations. I'm not blaming when I say government, I count big corporations as a government. America is a government. America as a government is a corporation. Everything is about money. Everything is about power. Power equates to money. Money equates to power. This dude is able to do everything he is because everybody's scared to lose their money. The reason those people sold out and they don't want their seats back and they're not running again, they got paid. Lobbyists, everything is about money. When you bring money into the equation, you can look back at American history. If you got money, everything is obsolete. You got money, you can be impeached as a president. You can have 34. I don't even know how many felonies. I stopped counting after they read off 3 of them. Just read off 2 of them. Read off 2 of them and see what 2 of them say. 2 of them say some of the most abrasive things you can do to a person, and they paid off in different courts. And all it is money. Because let that be a regular Blow and Joe. That's what we're talking about, what the war is going to be. Let that be a regular person as a nurse or as what did you say, Derek? You were what we need when COVID and all the shutdown happened, essential workers. All the essential workers aren't making this $200,000-$400,000 to live comfortable. It's not affecting them. My wife got into it with some person at a dental place right now. It made me sad. I had to go in there and talk to him real quick. An old white veteran talking crap because the dentist place was open, even though he was there benefiting from it. And then was mad when his wife looked up the stock market because they were closed somehow miraculously on Juneteenth. And he was like, what the fuck? Why should they be celebrating that type of day? And that's LaSalle. Yeah, I was like, who said this to what? Oh, let me go in there. Yeah. Everything changes once they see you walk in there. That whole persona changed. They still want to try to educate you, but they try to do it all nice, and they make themselves look more ignorant. But anyway, back to my point, y'all. Everything is about money in America and in this world. When you mention tariffs, it goes back to the money. When you mention anything, it goes back to the money. If you can afford it with the healthcare, Brother LaSalle, if you can afford it, you can cure what? AIDS. You can cure all kinds of diseases nowadays. I heard you got money, you ain't got problems. You got money, you can get 2 brand new knees. You can get anything you want. You really can, Brother James. So when we talk politics, we're talking this whole American society, this whole thing. Kudos to the people who are going to work and do things because they know it needs to help and they need to help everybody. When I look at this world, when I look at America, when I look at the government, Brother Derek, the reason I talk about Democrats, Republicans, liberals, anybody up there is because we're oil machine. When they say that, I really mean it though. Nobody is bigger than the people, but the people aren't bigger than anything. We need everybody. We need everyone. So the top 10% that has been running this world, been running this thing down to the ground, I don't believe they're just Republicans. I believe they got their nepotism running deep, their blood running deep through the whole system that wasn't built for me. When we talk Juneteenth, we talk about that, what it was every 3 or every 5 slaves was counted as one. They weren't counting that shit for the sake of America and for unity and to make us, when they wrote the Constitution and did all of that, they was making it for what we see today, modern day slavery. We're all working for a check, and guess who gets the lower end of the stick? I believe it's black women, then white women, then black men, or has that changed, Brother Derek? I'm not too sure on that.
That's pretty close, and don't forget Latinos, because the immigrants really get screwed because
I count them as us. So if y'all listening and don't like it, Latinos, y'all are us. There's black in every race and every culture. We're one. When I say all of us and none of us, I'm including you all too. So when I look in the government and I look at that, I see nepotism. I see passed down people that got into it, and I see it needs to change. And nothing, no disrespect to anybody like you or anybody, even a Republican that is standing up and means right. But to everybody, we know the system is corrupt. We know the system is corrupt, and we know how it's built. So, and it's built off monetary bullshit. So it's not monetary gain. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But we took this land from y'all people thousands of years ago, and then make it fair. 5 of y'all count for 1. Get out of here, man. And then that's the electoral college now, so we can rig it and say we're gonna give it to them and let them be who they want. We want them. We want what every president has been can't accept this one. But when you look at his last name is the reason he got power. We joke every day. I wish I had $1 million small loan from my dad. That didn't mean nothing. I'm a great businessman. You give me $1 million right now in the world. Let's see how great a businessman I become too.
Yeah.
Military bullshit. Man. I y'all know I'm not sorry for what I'm saying. I'm just tired of saying it. We all know it.
Yeah. There was something interesting that I thought happened over the weekend, and maybe it was just me, and maybe it was because I'm the pessimist that I am, but Brother Derek, do you have any idea about the ancestry of Kash Patel?
I'm not sure. To me, he's Indian or Pakistani,
But we had a guy Mondami that was elected in New York, and all of a sudden there's all of this. Well, remember what happened? 9/11. He's a Muslim. Why do we? And we just had Kash Patel going to some, and I'm sorry if I don't mean, well, anyway, he went to some kind of religious festival or something just a couple of weeks ago. And we condemn this guy because he wants to go, because he wants to celebrate his culture along with his victory. So, I mean, it also seems like there's different shades of brown.
Yeah, and I think it's the difference is Patel is fully in. He's all in with Trump's agenda, and there are a lot of black and brown people, mostly brown, I would say, and Asian. But we know we have the Tim Scotts and the Byron Donalds, who they buy into that agenda, that power dynamic agenda. And the reason that I say that the difference, Masada, is, and I got a lot of problems with the Democrats too. Don't think that I don't. I really do. But they have the big tent theory. In other words, it's a coalition of LGBTQ, black folk, brown folk, anybody, progressive white people. So, but to me, at this point in time, the other party has wealthy people. They have white people, too many of them who are racist, not all of them, but too many of them are racist. And they have black, brown, and yellow people who want to be white. And they act like they vote like they're white because they against their own best interest or the best interest of their people. And that's the difference, is that a lot of problems I have with the Dems, but they're not rounding up people and shipping them out. They're not going into high rises in Chicago and hauling black Americans, black citizens, butt naked downstairs for any kind of reasons. I mean, they're not raiding daycare centers and traumatizing kids because they're dragging teachers out. So that's what I'm saying. And they're not taking people's health insurance or SNAP benefits because they don't make it without at least poor and middle class people. Now, there are people grifting and taking advantage, like Bob Menendez up in New Jersey, the senator there. There are people on both sides surely taking advantage of all of us. But I think that there's a difference. And I'm one of my kids says this, and I can't argue with them. They said we need to burn the whole. I don't know if they said burn, tear the whole thing down and start over again. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. And I also think though we need to have at least two good choices. And I'm not saying we have any now, but we need to have at least two good choices. The reason I did vote Republican when I did for probably a third of my adult life at least was because I think that if you're out of power, you better have somebody that's on the team in power who will challenge them and tell them, we can't do this. And this is why. If you do this, X, Y, and Z are going to happen. And so I don't see anybody like that on Donald Trump's team. They're a bunch of sycophants who pull out the crazy straw and suck it all the way dry and won't challenge him. That's why I think he was so shocked at what happened in the midterms, because it was not what he expected, because everybody was telling him he was so great and so powerful, so awesome. So I don't know. But yeah, this isn't working, and it's not working for 90+% of the people. And so
I thought you was going to add years to that. Like it hasn't been working for the last couple of 100 years when you said 90.
No, I said 90% of the people.
I know, but I was saying you could add years to that.
Yeah.
Your kids are right. It needs to be burnt down. But one thing you said about the people that look like us or the Latinos and all that, and you said that they weren't voting in their interest. They were voting in their interest. They were voting in their dollar sign interest because what I learned, once you get past a certain bracket, color changes to how much green you got, and then what they don't realize is past that certain bracket where they're in, their color still stay the same. So they get seen a little bit like that, and they can look at us different, but those people up there still look at them like that, and they don't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, like Oprah getting stopped for shoplifting in Switzerland. I mean, she could buy the store, but she don't look like she didn't look right. But you see, I don't mind when you say burn it down. But the problem with that,
and I don't literally mean burn it down, but I mean start.
I know what you're saying, but see, we've been through the burn down, and the thing about the burn down is that, like I say, I know there are blocks that were burned down in 1967 that are still flat. Mm-hmm. So
we're burning down our own communities. Yeah, we can't do. And I literally do not mean burn it down. I mean
I'm with
rebuild.
beside it. Yeah, I mean, literally burn it down, but we have to have a plan
Yeah,
on
yeah,
how to build it back up. It's kind of like, see, I'm not one of those that crossed over. You can't tell me, well, let's burn down your house now and we'll talk about it in December.
exactly,
No,
exactly.
see,
And
it don't
that's the
work like
issue. That's the issue with giving up on the ACA, the subsidies, because
right.
it is because we end up paying because those people who won't go until they have to drag themselves into the ER. It always costs 2, 3, 4 times as much. And who pays for it? We pay for it. You know, instead of helping people, give them some dignity by letting them preventative care. There were 10 essential health benefits to the Affordable Care Act. And one of them was really focused on preventative care. So if you know you have to you have a paid for physical every year, they're going to catch things and they're going to be able to warn you and treat you for things. And so you'll stay out of much more likely to stay out of the ER. And so I'm just saying it wasn't perfect. It isn't perfect, but this thing with Mandami, it's an experiment because I don't know about in the last 50 years when we've had somebody that was an acknowledged essentially
socialist Democrat.
socialist, yeah,
Yeah.
Democrat. So what happens here is going to say a lot, and I think a whole lot of young people, and not just young people in New York, right, said, "Hey, this isn't working. Let's try this." And let's see what happens with this. It's going to be a grand experiment. I hope he's successful because a whole lot of people aren't happy with what we got. So let's at least try something different.
Uh, uh, Brother Saul, I don't know. You might be one of the ones that is most qualified to talk about this subject because you go into some of the affluent neighborhoods around here. Um, and I don't know how much, the Masada says he doesn't use the VA a lot, but I started going to the VA when I moved out here in 2003. And I spent probably a few years working in La Jolla. And there used to be a few homeless that came up by the VA, and we'd feed them and whatnot. Old veterans, and you might see probably 5 or 6 that hung out over by the Vons or over there, and Coronado. Uh, there were a couple small pockets of homelessness, but they've disappeared. Down around the harbor, uh, you don't see homelessness, except unless the old saying, they're driving through, pushing their cart through, but it ain't no stopping. Uh, so my what I'm trying to say is there are certain affluent neighborhoods, where there isn't a homeless problem because the homeless are either, I don't know how they do it because it's definitely unlawful by federal law, to put these, I mean, do they put them all in jail? But I'm like Masada here, is it, the more money you have, the less empathy you have?
Mm. That's ooh wee, yeah. Um, the thing that I've been told about Coronado is that basically you don't see a whole lot of folks there because they basically pay the homeless. And when they catch them, they give them a bit of money and tell them not to come back because I don't know if you've been to San Diego before, Derek, but you know that bridge over, and they say, just don't come back. And according to a lot of people, supposedly that works by just keeping them on the other side, basically. And they are being. I did notice within the last 2 weeks, they've been in very odd places compared to what they used to be, as far as encampments. I've actually seen over by the harbor encampments right there by before the courthouse. Um, People like right in front of everything, right, like literally right there with their encampment, and police didn't get them there, but in just very odd places. I mean, of course, it's all odd, really, but uh, not usual places where I would see them. And there's just more enforcement wherever they are. Enforcement, police come probably every like once a week at least to these encampments at least, and they're
Well,
not
we
in the.
actually have an ordinance against encampments now.
Yeah,
Even though what is that Imperial Avenue is covered from one end to the other, but yeah.
right. Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, and you have the signs up too about that. There's a more of a strategy going towards enforcement now. Even Gavin Newsom got on the more on that as well. Um, but to your question about uh, rich not whether they really let's say care about the homeless. Well, I actually spoke to a couple of individuals in those higher, uh, you know, La Jolla somewhat, but more so areas like Cardiff, uh, Rancho Bernardo areas, more up north there. And what I find is that, the times when I would speak to certain people, uh, they really do. Some of them know, and they're looking for ways. They're either ignorant of how to make a difference, or they're ignorant as to the actual real plight of people who are homeless. Like, and some of them have been actually quite innocent. Well, innocent, that's an interesting context, but they have generally not known about, hey, like, what's the case? Interesting. When I would tell them about the case with the individual, because I was homeless too, and mention like, hey, these people are hard. Some of them are hard working. They're all not addicts, and you know what I mean. They're not all, uh, on the wayside. And I've heard people, and of course, their political affiliations end up coming up, especially no more near the bar areas and near the restaurants. And what I would do is I would just listen to them, and they would basically say their frustrations. But most of them have this interest in making a difference, especially when I frame it as they're often misunderstood, and in government policies even are oftentimes misaimed and mistargeted. And of course, for hardcore Republicans, I point out Reagan's policies of closing down the psych wards and such. And I mentioned, so they threw the baby out with the bathwater. That you're supposed to improve on the psych wards, not destroy them. And it's like on that side, one thing I can say, it seems to be Democrats push for social programs, and then on the other side, they push to burn it down and tear it down and rebuild whatever the heck they rebuild on the other side, as far as all the things that people were using to get ahead. Um, and more of that later, but I think we really need to get into that debate that they have about, let's say, DEI and this idea of why should you take from me to give to them? That's not right. That bullshit argument that's typically used. It also applies to undercurrent of racism too. I really hope we can get into that pretty soon, because that topic is related to what we're talking about. But to be fair, only a small percentage of people I've spoken to who were like, you could tell like either 3-story houses or something that they would come from. Only about a small percentage of them would actually say, yeah, these freaking homeless, they need to just work more. Stop being so lazy. Like I've heard it. I've actually heard it spoken. And it took some patience, but I went there with them. My thing is I don't have to get like go off on them. I can just speak, just literally let them know how stupid they're doing. by showing them facts and giving them information, and oftentimes they respond to it. Surprising.
James, I had a question for you all. Forgive me, Masada,
No, go ahead. Go
because
ahead.
you all both are, you're all in California. I don't know how much time you spent in LA, which I think is very different, right, in terms of the treatment and the numbers of homeless. And where do you all land? Is it somewhere in the middle, or what's good, what's bad about how both cities handle it? And I'm
All
just real
bad.
curious.
California, all bad. I know, LaSalle, I know you're gonna speak more about it from outside though, looking in. All bad because they started putting spikes up under bridges, like you know how they do for pigeons on telephone poles. They start doing that on benches. They start doing that in between them. They start doing that on the
Really?
sidewalks. Yes, yes, yeah. Go ahead,
Rocks.
LaSalle. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing where it's it's political. I have a couple of friends. Mayor Bass. She came into office with a mandate about homelessness. And she showed a lot of energy in doing certain things, including a high-rise new housing for people on Skid Row. And there was a lot being done. But for sure, there's a difference. I know LA has more resources, but it's interesting. This should tell you something. A lot's being done in LA, and a lot was done in San Diego. But this should tell you something, that people have been advised that if they want to get help, this was years ago, probably around the pandemic, but nevertheless, it's related to today. They were told to leave and come to San Diego, where they would be almost certain to get housing instead of for LA. They would kind of shut out. Matter of fact, I remember speaking, now that we're talking, I just remember speaking to someone over near Dodger Stadium years ago, and he actually said it. Yeah, no, it's very, very, very limited. Um, but ultimately, I would say the difference is, um, uh, yeah, it's, you know what though, and it's worth mentioning. The homelessness situation is worse probably because it's a bigger city, but you have the abundance now of Waymo cars. Uh, the jobs that people who are earning less would take on, like the ride share and the delivery apps. Oh man, anytime I go out to LA, I see at least 15 Waymo cars, at least. And that's just one drive and one drive back. And then the little box cars, the AI little driving box car, we definitely talk about that, by the way, and the impact on folks. But they are delivering food and those people who would once deliver the food in those busy areas, they are doing it.
See, here's another thing that probably a lot of people don't realize. It hasn't happened here in San Diego for a while, simply because of the economic facts that the NFL moved out and there's not really a sports team around here. But if you look at the two cities that have built the two biggest stadiums lately, which are Las Vegas and LA, do you realize how many homeless people were displaced just by moving all of that land around? Those are places where, there used to be sanctuaries, there used to be, different facilities. Those are gone now. And all of a sudden, like uh, Las Vegas has almost become like New York. Most of the homes are underground.
Grassroots organizations are the one to
So
step up.
if they're underground, out of sight, out of mind. I mean, there are numerous empty lots around here that, we have I believe it's a little tent city. It's only 100 tents. but it provides a safe environment for those 100 people.
Is that away from Balboa?
And the one over by the Naval Hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, Balboa Navy Hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you telling me that that's the only empty lot that we have that we can put 100 tents? Huh? Yeah. How many empty buildings do we have downtown?
How much
that's
new
one of the reasons
construction
why
we have going on.
Yeah, that's why I kind of got out. That's why I got out of that, because the when I seen certain solutions or like Band-Aid things with, tent cities as being like, I mean, they weren't bold enough to say it's a solution, but still, I mean, tent cities, you're putting them in tents, and the security and then the quality of these places, are complained about monthly, and Father Joe's, for example, there are, unfortunately, reports of people passing away. Now, God bless Father Joe's and the organization for what they've done, but those are some disturbing things to find out about. So
it's like
everything.
It's like everything we're talking about. Everything needs to be starting over. California, I'm not knocking them too much with homelessness. It's a slippery slope, because you have to figure out what to do. Some people want to be homeless. Some people don't want to be helped. Some people need different help. People need more, whether it's an AA or some type of rehab or everything. I worked with a couple of organizations before that they try to do really good with homeless people. They try to do good with addictiveness or whatever problems you have. It's really hard. I just think that that brings up the government again. We as a people, we have to do better, because where we live at, it's not just the stadiums and all that. It's all the new construction, everything going up, everything's costing more. Like everything's going up. And yet I'm seeing not just homelessness, I'm seeing people being put out their houses that have been in places for 20, 30, 40 years. We had a flood, first time ever, a year and a half, 2 years ago in San Diego. I don't know if you know about it, Derek, or anybody else knows about it, but that song, It Never Rains in Southern California, it's a true song. And somehow for one day or like 2-3 days, we got the most rain ever. And guess what? This is the most magic shit ever. I fuck cussing, y'all. I have to, so I can't. This just don't make sense. It never rains in Southern California, and then when it did, the only places it rained are kind of like the places that you don't see no homeless, that you don't see. You see homeless people and you see all the cops. It don't rain in the good places. It flooded somehow magically in a couple of the low economic neighborhoods, Mr. Derek. And guess who had to move out? People who don't got flood insurance, people who can't afford that, whose families had these homes for generations. But somehow all these nice, pretty houses in the nice neighborhoods that we got out here, there was no flood, no threat of a flood. And I'm like, do they got a better drain system? And if so, why haven't ours been updated? And the mayor and all, they're trying to do good. He had an initiative with these streets and everything else. I don't knock every part of government. I knock every part of government because we all, and I say we all in part of government, you swear an oath to really do it for the people.
That's
and
right.
at a certain point, it seems like even those who came in with an ideal for the people, they somewhere, the kids call it selling. I mean, that's just the word we use. We call it selling out. It's the same thing. They selling. And I'm just the price of good faith. I'm so tired of people selling us. I don't know what else to say. I'm tired of people selling us.
Sounds like what happened in San Diego is a lot like what happened in the Fourth Ward in New Orleans.
Oh yeah,
all those were poor and black.
Ninth Ward, Third Ward, the levee. I know.
Yeah, that's right.
Rolling down the street in California. Yeah, it looked like a whole nother state.
Now I've seen them do some good things in LA though, where they use those shipping carts and they created homes for people. And
the shipping containers. I mean, you can get a really nice what they call them now, mother-in-laws, whatever.
Granny flats, mother-in-law suites and all.
Yeah, I mean, you can get one, for $15,000-$20,000. I mean, that's really nice. But then you got to have a piece of land to put it on. You got to get the sewage, the electricity, and all that stuff in there. But I think I priced out one at about 65 grand. You get one, which is much less than for a house. And hey, you don't never have to worry about it rusting out. There's many different plans. There was there's one city that has these little like tiny houses for the homeless. They have a few of them. I forget exactly where it was. I know it's somewhere in the Midwest. But there are a lot of solutions that we have. Technology is great, if we want to use it. But the funny thing is, we can give Elon Musk $1 trillion for his space packages, but like you say, we can't find $68 for grandma to get her groceries. So
speaks the value. Yeah.
Speaking of that, I know we're talking about America, y'all. I have to do this. I have to talk about the world right quick. That is like what I spoke with somebody about today about things like Jamaica. Jamaica right now is in turmoil. And it's going to cost a couple of million. And just like everywhere in America, Jamaica got people that got money from there and everything. So it's like, what are we doing as a society?
A couple of billion. Things. Millions. That was
and billions are different. Yeah.
That was when Derek and I was young. It was millions then. It's billions now. Everything comes with a B or a T. If you talk about millions now, you're poor.
What was that y'all friend Trump gave to the other country right now, Derek? What was that? Billions, trillions.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was $40 billion to Argentina. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, Jamaica can get like 3, right?
Which competes with our people that raise cattle because their beef is really good. And
so soybeans to opposition.
Yeah, he gave them
soybeans to Brazil.
Yeah.
You got the president of Colombia now wanting to make a coalition of the Latin American countries. He's going to Venezuela, talking about, hey, Trump is bombing you, so let's make up a coalition here. So if a very interesting thing, and Derek, this might be even news to you, but since Trump has been bombing these Venezuelan vessels, now Britain refuses to give Caribbean intelligence to the Trump administration.
That's good. That's good.
So
because there's no proof. There's no proof about what's on any of these ships. They're doing target practice. They're just running.
Did you see a bale of cocaine anywhere? I mean, usually back in the day when we had the speed boats and we even had submarines. Remember there? Coming out. I mean, if one of them got destroyed, there was some. There was something on the ocean that verified this. But we anyway. Brother Saul, let's start with you tonight, and let's give you a final thought. Anywhere from the 8 that capitulated to any other social things you might want to talk about.
Yeah, I think everything we spoke about, in my perspective, speaks to a further disintegration of value, and at this point, almost like a broken record. But when Brother Masada mentioned there, when persons getting into the trillions now, while other people are struggling. And not federally yet, they're struggling too. Um, you know, as a result of policy shifts, I noticed that the ethicists, the people who feel like ethics should inform policy, uh, they are losing their voice, unfortunately. And business and technology is increasing. At first, for a while, the tech world had, to some degree, a lot of Democrats in their grasp, and then they switched over to Trump. Um, and then you have the AI that I don't know if you guys heard, but the first company ever to reach 5 trillion or something like that is NVIDIA or whatever you call that group. They created AI models. They are quickly raising, and our humanity and our the things that make sense and to be important for us are not catching up at all. Um, so if if we had and if we value things more that should be valued, a lot of this wouldn't be happening. I know it sounds like, oh, okay, duh, of course, right? But no, it's not so obvious to a lot of people that the main thing that we should be nailing down and standing on are common values, that civic value, civic virtue that will really glue the country, not force, not to force stuff like the Super Bowl, with having that came right out. The Super Bowl where it was tinged with propaganda. I mean, you can tell in the beginning, because unfortunately, and rest in peace for all that stuff that happened in Louisiana, that was terrible. But that was used for this sense of patriotism, which you knew it was like, wait a minute, we're kind of what? And we know now it was kind of a preamble or almost like a preemptive action to the whole Kendrick Lamar thing that's getting ready to happen, where he spoke out in almost an opposite way. The culture is shifting. Gen Z, by the way, it's worth mentioning. I always say there's some type of optimism. I hope Gen Z is starting to say that the shitty values that you had regarding business in the 80s and such, and glorifying businessmen, we're abandoning that. We need more value in our lives, and even I've made the mistake of calling a lot of them lazy, but no, a lot of them know the value of their lives since COVID, since they're doing jobs that, are essential workers, for example, and not getting paid for it. They probably die tomorrow. They re-examine their life and say, you know what, I got other stuff to do right now. The re-examine of values needs to happen, and we need to act on it. That's where I approach it, and I know that can go many different ways. But as far as the shutdown's concerned, we need to. I would say we need to get back to the values and the things that did work, and destroy the things that didn't.
Brother Derek, your final thoughts for the evening.
Sure.
You down there in Arizona enjoying that great weather? How long you gonna be down there?
I am. I'm here till Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am enjoying it for sure. Yeah, we kind of talked about it. Really, this administration, in my opinion, is really attacking and castigating poor people, Black people, and brown people. Okay, the people who are being protected. When you think that all this money that's being cut, all these tariffs that are being raised, and what is? Did you hear today? He's promising Americans a $2,000.
$2,000, yeah.
No, you can put me in the soup line, and then you take my job, and then give me $2,000. You're putting a Band-Aid on it. See, so it's almost like the during when
$200,000 isn't going to pay your rent here in San Diego.
No, yeah, that's right. So what is that? It's a drop in the bucket. And
But
so
eat cake.
That's it. And so It really is, because it's like when Joe Wilson, the congressman from South Carolina, said it's a politically correct thing to be against a black man in the White House. So there is a concerted effort to destroy Obama's legacy. And I'll say this again, I have some issues with him too, but 7 presidents before him had tried to pass some form of universal health care. He got it through. And I think that Trump has had a hard on to destroy him and his legacy ever since. Look at all these people they're indicting just because they had the nerve to charge him with crimes that he's getting all, he got away with them because we let him get away with them. And, that was our politicians. That was some of Obama's people, like his attorney general, who was being so damn careful. Let me join the party in this instance, that he drug his feet till it was too late to get him to court. So when you get him to court, he gets convicted. So, but now he has free reign to do what he wants to do. So I'm personally really encouraged. I don't necessarily consider myself to be a socialist, but if being a socialist means that you care about the average person, the little person, the middle class, then I'm all for socialism. The thing that got Dr. King killed, it wasn't getting Voting Rights Act passed. It wasn't getting the Civil Rights Act passed. It was him calling for the Poor People's Campaign to bring Native Americans, white coal farmers from Kentucky, poor black farmers from all over, the Latinos that were picking fruits and vegetables, to bring them together for the Poor People's Campaign. And coming out against the Vietnamese War. So if Madami can be successful, I'm all for that. If we have another route, because as you said, Masada, what we're doing now isn't working. Let's try something different. If that wouldn't work, let's try something different. I'm all about that. And the last thing I want to share with you is this gentleman. He's a pastor, Martin Niemöller. I'm probably mispronouncing him. He lived during the Holocaust. And this is what he said. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out. And because I'm not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I'm not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. So we have to speak out for the least of these, and we have to speak out for, we need to be speaking out for the Latin American community that's under assault now, because somebody has to have the courage and stand up and say it's not right. And that means white people, black people, brown people, Asian people, wealthy people. And so I feel, I told you all I was, not feeling good about where we were. I feel better because of what New York has done. And I pray that the guy can be successful, because it's something I didn't think we would see in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. As far as my final thoughts before we go to Masada, I reckon the boycott, the shutdown to a boycott. And to me, that's the only realistic weapon that we have at our disposal at this particular time. And I know, it's a hardship on almost everyone, because I know it's a hardship on me. I miss my prime, and God forbid, you start talking about taking away my Sunday football and Monday night football, but I have participated in the boycott against Target, against Amazon to a certain extent, as I said, but, we need, everyone says, buy black, go to a black business, but the problem is that we have not planned for this. Those black businesses that used to be in the neighborhood that you could go to, and maybe, maybe that bookstore that talked about black history and had the African statues in it. Maybe the little coffee shop, that was run by, the man, a Caribbean man. You went there and got some pastries in the morning. See, we don't have a lot of those places. Like Masada was talking about the soul food restaurant. Well, I believe since I've been here, I can think of about five that have went out of business. And you know, we don't talk about supporting our own until, like you just mentioned, brother Dick, until they come from me. Until then, it's somebody else's problem. So we have to start looking out for each other because as the old saying goes, if you don't look out for each other, no one else is going to look out for you. So those are kind of my final words. Brother Assad, I'm going to pass this on to you, and a big announcement before you even came on air tonight. We were talking about you taking on the responsibility of being president for the CCE. So why don't you, as our president, why don't you give us your final thoughts and how do you feel about this?
It's kind of I have a lot of emotions about it because it's like what Derek was saying when he said that we need more than one candidate for different things. I am very optimistic and realistic on it should always have different opinions and different thoughts and different ideas. I am very one of those people that I don't like titles. No offense to anyone or anything. I don't like titles. I don't like power. When I say I believe it takes a village, my thoughts are with like everything. It's 2025. We all know better. We all need to do better. I have that philosophy. I gotta give somebody credit. I gotta look it up. We can Google it later. But someone in the mid 1800s or late, or maybe in 1930s or 40s, they said all of us are none of us, and that
Mm-hmm.
is I really mean that, and I feel that way. For the coalition, for everything, it is great. It's a great honor to be that, but I want other people helping. For me, that I will be and wear that title to be that figure. But I will let everybody know it really is for the people. It's not what I want. Well, I believe what I do want is for all of us to get on that one mindset. All of us and none of us. And that don't mean we all got to like each other. That don't mean we all got to agree on a lot of different things. But there are certain issues I don't think that we can disagree on, and that's healthcare, education, food, just simple things for each other. That brother Lasalle, what I was going to speak on earlier, when you said you were trying to tell them and educate them, I swear y'all got something listening to me. When wifey came and told me that, I told her I had to go use the bathroom because I didn't want to alarm her. I went in there, I came out, and I spoke with this guy, and not in a rude way. The lady even came out and was like, "It sounded like y'all having a heated argument." I was like, "Well, you hear him. I'm not heated at all." And I told wife and I tell people the best way to do something with someone like that is to educate them or try. Don't waste your time too much effort because we are in 2025. And if somebody wants to know something, I learned you can be really smart and really dumb at the same time because you don't want to open your thoughts and knowledge to learning something new. I believe we can learn from old people. Old people can learn from young people. Young people can learn from middle-aged people. Black can learn from white. White can learn from Asian. Asian can learn from Middle Eastern. Men can learn from women. Women can learn from children. Children can learn from adults. Vice versa. We all have to learn. So I feel honored for y'all to think about me in that, and I accept. Um, but with that, I accept with I want real change. I don't want just I want real change and a real change for everybody. So when y'all say that, know that it's not just my people, it's just not us, it's just not men, not women, not black, not white. It's all of us as a whole. In some way we do have to think about these people with millions aren't going to be willing to give up their millions. I don't want the football players to stop playing. I don't want the NBA players to stop playing, the artists stop it. But there has to be some type of way, y'all. We all can work it out. There's too much knowledge, too much power, and too much intelligence as a whole. I don't want to believe that ignorance is going to win over. I don't want to believe that hate is going to trump love. I don't want to believe that, y'all. And I don't even say that name. And for me to say that name, I hope y'all really get that. I ain't talking in riddles or nothing, no rhymes. I don't want hate to trump love. Okay, just if we're gonna do this, let's do this. We need everyone. I'm with everyone. Everyone, y'all ain't gotta be with us. Just don't be against us. Because, like Brother Derek just read, at a certain time, once they knock out one person, once they knock out another, guess who they coming to? The rich keep getting richer. Guess how? Because you can't keep taking from poor people. All of a sudden, poor people ain't got nothing else to take. Then it's those big people who I didn't know voting for them, my farm was going to get done like that. So let's wake up, know better, do better, all of us and none of us.
Well said. Well said. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Brother Derek, you were really a champ there. You worked through all the technical difficulties and everything and hung out there with us, even though you're on the road. So we appreciate you. I want you to know that.
Yes, keep sending those emails too. They're very useful.
Good to be with you, brothers. Absolutely.
Yeah. You every time you send one of those, you give me an idea for a program.
Good.
I got programs now to probably 2028. So we got plenty of things to talk about. All right, guys, have a good evening. Be safe, everyone. And Brother Derek, I meant to ask you, how was your trip? No delays? Did everything go all right?
The only thing I ran into was we were about 30 minutes on the tarmac. In fact, going to the airport, ours is the busiest airport in the world.
Right.
It was almost no traffic. Got there, very few people at the airport. And I think people were just afraid because of all the drama, the craziness and the story. So it'll be interesting to see how getting out of here is. I'm starting to get a few warning emails, so prayerfully we'll get out on Saturday like we're supposed to.
As long as you're not flying through Vegas, you should be fine.
Yeah, won't be doing that. Won't be doing that. Yeah.
I got stuck on one of those flights from Vegas to Phoenix to San Diego instead of straight to San Diego. And even though I liked the Phoenix airport, it wasn't somewhere I wanted to be. But
I don't like none of those, because from Vegas to here and to Phoenix to here is 5 hours. So sometimes when you stuck like 2 or 3 hours, you're like, I should have just drove.
Should have just driven.
Yeah.
That's a terrible feeling, ain't it? That's a horrible feeling.
My wife and son were delayed 5 hours getting home from not Battle Creek, Michigan.